Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We'll call the Sawyer County Administration Committee meeting to order, please. Madam Clerk, may we have roll call?
Reed Schuman,
Here.
Ron Buckles,
Present.
Dale Schleter,
Here.
Tom Duffy.
He's here. He's coming right back. Yeah.
Ron Kinsley.
Thank you, ma'am. Let the record indicate we have a quorum. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Certification of compliance with open meetings law, Madam Clerk.
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Meeting agenda has been presented. Number 6, public comment. Ms. Zelmer, please step forward. Name, address, ma'am, and you have 3 minutes.
Linda Zilmer, 902 Holly Hill Lane, Birchwood, Edgewater property taxpayer. My public comment this morning, first I'd like to address items 4A and 4B. The investment policy was briefly, it was read and discussed in the previous committee meeting. And later in the meeting, there was a motion to bring it forward to the full county board. I don't know if that motion meant in the form that was read or based on the discussion in the committee level to leave the finance committee is the committee of jurisdiction. I do think waiting to January until this has time to properly be absorbed by the county supervisors, all the county supervisors, is important. Because I do think the finance committee should be the committee of jurisdiction. Again, it's representative government and having the most supervisors involved with important decisions like that. Second of all, the contract authority. I believe that the contract to delegate authority to sign contracts should only be on those items that are acted on by the county board and not implicit in the budget. And I think the next item I'm going to address is Muni Code. And that's a prime example of where that things like policy and ordinances are within the jurisdiction of county supervisors, and you're representing the rules that govern people in Sawyer County. Muni Code was taken up by the administrator. It was done primarily with outside counsel and not a lot of involvement from, I would say, most affected departments, especially the zoning committee. I appreciated last month's motion by Supervisor Buckholz to send it back to the zoning committee, but I continue to be concerned, and I'm not the only person or town government that's concerned with the functioning of the zoning department and the zoning committee with regard to carrying out their responsibilities. Comment was made at zoning committee by the chair that he doesn't even understand why the zoning ordinance has to be codified, whether it's in the body or whether it's in the appendix. So really, I don't know how that committee even makes decisions. I don't know that they've really looked at the zoning ordinance part of it. Going back to how it was first compiled, I think Mr. Kinsley, you were board chair at the time I brought this to your attention, and to Mr. Hoff, who was fairly new. Mr. Hoff engaged Muni Code and outside counsel to start working on that somewhere around the time of the pandemic. And then it was compiled correctly with the zoning ordinance in the body. And then we had both Rebecca Roper leaving and then Tom Hoff. Thank you I will get off. I thank you for the extension of the time. And it's split in 2 different parts. And really, it's disappointing that there has not been meaningful discussion on reviewing that ordinance as a whole. And I know you want to get it adopted, but if you don't do it right, I don't think it'll ever get corrected if you don't do it right in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Selmer. Anybody online, Mike, for public comment? Okay, if not, we'll move on then to approval of our meeting minutes. Entertain a motion to Mr. Duffy, a motion to approve as presented, second by Mr. Buckholz. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. All right, number 8, Treasurer Department update. You, Andy, do you want to add anything? I know we had that in finance. She provided a written report regarding Sawyer County sales tax.
You're on the,
Maybe I'm on the
you're on the finance agenda.
finance agenda. Sorry.
No, it's on administrative. too.
No, yep. No, I'm right.
'Cause-
After minutes, we got Treasurer Department update.
Yeah,
Talking about
so.
Sawyer County sales tax distribution.
Oh,
Did you discuss that in finance?
We went through it.
well, she provides us with the sales tax. Monthly report. It's on track, I think the. For analytics for the state and Mike had also done in projections. We come in, I think about 2.85 and we're on track, but depending on the last month to do that.
And what did we budget?
We budgeted 2.2.
See, I told you, Mike, there was a surplus. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Any questions regarding the sales tax report? Nope. If not, we'll move on to number 9, Veteran Service Department report. Gary,
Hi, good morning.
morning.
So for the month of November, I had 368 phone calls, 324 letters, emails and faxes, and 150 office visits. So as of the end of the month, I had submitted 115 disability pension claims and received retroactive payment of a little over $500,000 for claims decided in the veteran's favor. My training is up to date. And miscellaneous information, I applied for the County Veterans Transportation Grant. And we received that this month. So about $2,537.85. CVSO grants coming up. This is due the end of January. So I gotta get cracking on that, but I can't really compile everything until after the 31st of December for the year. So that'll be turned in on time. So that pretty much sums up where the service office is. I've exceeded everything but phone calls from last year, this year. So everything has been surpassed.
Okay. Any questions, concerns for Gary? Board? Ron?
What kind of comments you receiving from the veterans coming down to that building? Do they like it better? They don't like it better? It's a change.
Yeah, I think they like it. It's a lot cleaner.
Okay.
That old building stunk. Literally. It
Well,
literally
it's
stunk.
gone.
It rained, the water come in the building. We had all sorts of things wrong with it. And they kept just putting band-aids on it. So it's much cleaner. They come in. The biggest smile they get is I found you. So some of them, regardless of putting the signs up, we put signs up on the building. Well, when the building went away, then that went away. But they talk and I put posters up in the county building here. They've asked county employees where I'm at. And then down at the VA clinic itself, I've got a map to the building as well. Again, the sign was very helpful. I can't thank you enough for that. It felt like I was risking my life running off the highway to try to wave these people down as they drove by me. But anyway, so the building's a lot nicer.
I apologize. It took so long to get the sign there.
No, I know things take time, but anyway, so everything's pretty good, except I think I'm gonna change my post office box. It's sitting out on the highway. And I started looking into that to see where I can have the mail delivered. When we were across the street, we had a solid mailbox where the mail person would open the thing, drop the mail, and I'd key to open it up and go. This is like, any person's mailbox sitting out there, snowplow man comes by, fires the snow across the road, hits the box, the lid comes down. I think the wind blows just right, the lid comes down. And it's not, I don't feel that safe, actually. You know, and that's just my personal,
Sure.
I'm eyeballing the traffic before I walk out to the mailbox. So. And I don't, and it's not secure, you know, it's just not secure, so. I don't know if I'm gonna have to go to the post office, like I said, I just started looking into it yesterday. To see, you know, at first I looked at the courthouse, I don't know who's got all the boxes and nobody seems to know, I don't think we have a record of it anywhere. So if the post office can tell me if there's an empty box here or not, if there is, I'll try here, if not, I'm gonna go to the post office more than likely and get a mailbox there. I guess the register of deeds has a mailbox at the post office. I don't like it because it takes me out of the office. But,
Yeah.
but, you know, I mean, what's the trade-off? So I'd rather make sure I get the mail that's been sent to me, not. It's still somewhere gone.
Madam Clerk, can we address that next month too, to make sure? Can I put that under his report that we ask about the mail situation? Make sure that gets addressed.
Yeah, so other than that, I think, you know. Been very busy and I knew it, when they changed the law, I knew it was gonna be a firestorm and it has been constant. So,
Gary, are you seeing some tribal members as well? Because I
Yes.
think we're without a TVSO, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right now?
Yeah, Mr. Schuman, we've always had.
Yeah.
Tribal service members coming in. We've got several that I take care of.
Thank you.
Like I said, when we were serving, it didn't matter what color you were or what religion you were.
Yep.
You know, we took care of each other and it's the same here. So.
Thank you. Okay, anything else for Gary?
Thank you for all you do.
Yes.
Thank you, Gary.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dale.
You get a lot of stuff that is very confidential in the mail.
Yes,
I would be more interested in you getting a solid mailbox out there. That's your property there. So that's just my opinion.
yeah, I don't know, I agree with you, but here's the problem with the solid mailbox. And I know this, the state changed the law on on mailboxes that are supposed to be out, you know, on the highway. And I know several counties have followed suit on it, that it's supposed to be of a certain size, you know, it for safety for the people driving that can't stay on the road is basically what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm gonna get a solid mailbox there without asking the postal person to drive off the road to the building to put the mail out.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that, I believe me, I wish I had that box moved over there, I really do. And then just, it gives me more time in the day to work on things that are important than running on errands. So I'll do my due diligence and asking questions with the post office and running this down, but.
Okay,
Lynn, who's in charge of these mailboxes that we put in here 3, 4, 5 years ago?
Well, the wooden ones, we know, but the ones with the locks,
Yeah.
we have no idea. We have no keys for all the boxes in the clerk's office. There's no list.
Does anybody use them boxes?
Oh, yeah, we do. The post office comes in and delivers there,
Yeah.
so they're the only ones who actually know which boxes belong to who.
The way I was gonna start is I was gonna send an email out to the directors asking, you know, if you have a mailbox in the courthouse, can you tell me what number it is? So I get a full accounting. I think there's 14 or 18, just looking at it, you know, quickly. How many boxes there are. If there's one that comes up empty, then maybe that's the one I need to pursue
That's
first of all. And then after that. Look at other options.
I think there should be a list available who has them mailboxes.
there it is. And just, we don't know who has it, but he's gonna find out.
we're gonna hear more about this, okay? Make sure we get this done for you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Gary.
So, and
Okay,
the post
moving on to
office
number
about
10
keys,
then.
we don't- I don't-
Information technology report. Mike?
Good morning. See, not much to mention, although we're starting to work more on coordinating with our vendors for the new courtroom. We're talking with Accurate Controls They're gonna be putting in new cameras, the duress system, and the door controls. So we're starting to kind of coordinate with them, as well as the AV vendor for the courtrooms. Other than that, just a lot of the support requests. That's more than about 85 to 90% of our time is just helping folks out here in the courthouse.
Wonderful.
Any questions?
Any questions for Mike? No, thank you, sir. All you do. All right, number 11, Human Resources Report. Rose,
Good morning.
welcome. Thank you.
Have my report up there. Do you have any questions?
Just our highway commissioner is retiring and
Yep.
Public Works did a nice job last evening, but where are we with that? Are we gonna?
I found the old job description. Well, this isn't quite from.
Yeah, how long has Gary been here, Rose?
He's been the commissioner for 22 years.
22 years.
And then we have the JDQ from when the Carlson Devon thing came in, so we use this to,
Don't let it wait.
no, we're going to use it to make it straight.
When's Gary done?
January 6th.
January 6th.
Mhm. So, but we do have a plan, right, Mr. Alvarado, for a smooth transition and
We have an
correct?
Interim plan, we have long-term direction. Yes.
Good. Anything else we wanna? We're still housing inmates out of county because we don't have enough jail staff. Is that true?
We don't have female jailers. That is,
Female jailers,
we
okay.
have made progress in both dispatch and in jail. We have 2 dispatchers that are gonna complete training pretty soon, and we'll probably make an offer of full-time employee there. And then we have a male jailer, I believe, is almost done, and that would be an offer as well. So we are making progress.
What about in HHS? We heard about Child Protective Services and they're down several employees now.
2. Yes,
Can they function down too?
that would be a Paul Verhoeven question.
Okay. All right, anything else for HR, anyone? Do you have any further comments, Rose?
Thank you.
Are most of the employees expecting like a cost of living increase for 23?
They're
What have you
hopeful for
heard?
an increase, yes. And the last several years, we have been able to do one, so not only has the grid been increasing, but employees below the control have been stepping. So we're hopeful we'll be doing that again this year. Makes a big difference.
Sure. How's the morale amongst the staff?
I think it's pretty good. I think we've had several interviews the last 2 weeks, and I'm noticing kind of a theme. A couple of the applicants have mentioned that, like, one of the questions is why do you want to work for the county, or what interests you in this position? And they are saying it's the stability of, if they feel like they get in with the county, they won't have to worry about layoffs or that type of thing. So I think it's a reflection of the economy and what people are nervous about. So hopefully we're turning the corner, because it's been a long battle.
They seem to be comfortable with our benefits, like our health insurance and
Yes,
anything else for Rose, Andy?
Nothing specific. We're gonna talk about benefits, so
Oh,
ask Rose to stick around for that discussion too.
sure,
great.
And
Ron?
Roles will be available on December 16th.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Good. Cause she's pretty stoic and she can,
Should guide us in the right direction. I know.
she'll guide us. Okay. Thank you, Rose.
Yes.
Appreciate all you do. Number 12, Municode update. Mr. Alvarado,
Yeah, so after
discussion, possible action.
after the last couple months meetings, it's not uploaded, the Municode document has not changed since it was last shared. We delayed it to address a couple issues. This resolution comes to us from Municode. and it would adopt the Muni code as it is currently. There is already a supplement in the works. Like I've mentioned before, you have a contract with Muni code to manage our code of ordinances. This would establish the code, putting all our ordinances together. And then as you adopt new ordinances, we send them the Muni code, Lynn does, and then they prepare a supplement that gets added, then it gets added to the code of ordinances. So there has been some ordinances that have already changed or been updated since the last year. So that's referenced in here. And then those will be updated in the next supplement. If the ordinance as adopted, acknowledges that, so those ordinances aren't. They're still in effect, even though they're not part of the code. They're still in effect, and then they'll put them in a supplement, and then they'll update the document online. And we get hard copies of the code as well.
So this is a living, breathing document that can
Oh,
be
yeah.
amended and updated as necessary.
Yep, because everybody like public health has asked where we're at with this, because they'd like to start proceeding on some updates to their ordinances. And so as those move through the committee and are approved by the county board, then the code is updated. The other issue we discussed is the zoning ordinances, specifically whether they were codified within the body of the code or are they an appendix? So that was referred back to the zoning committee. And the zoning committee, in consultation with our council, made a motion to leave them in the appendix rather than as a part of the code.
You're good with that?
I'm good with that. I mean, my personal opinion, long-term, is they should be part of the code, so it lives and breathes with the rest of the document.
Yep.
But there were some good reasons to leave them in the appendix now until we get to that point.
So Andy, what is your recommendation then? That we approve adopting this Muni code ordinance
Yep.
and send it on to the full county board?
And then we'll upload the full code with this in for the board packet. But I think just at the point where we know we have updates that need to be made, but we also know there's continuing to be changes to our code of ordinances. So this at least gets us the full code adopted and in place, gets us on the Muni code site, and then we can make changes from there.
Okay, pleasure of the board. Entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Mr. Buckholt, second by Mr. Duffy to approve the adoption of the Muni code ordinance and move it on to the full county board for discussion, possible action. Madam Clerk. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Kinsley?
Who's maintaining the Unicode? What are we paying them? So like when we bring changes to them, do we pay them so much a month, so much a year, or so much for changes?
We pay them, there's a contract to have it, and then you can, depending on the frequency, we can increase or decrease, like, you can have it done quarterly, monthly, every update.
Okay,
I believe right now we're set for quarterly updates.
okay.
Like, off the top of my head, I can't tell you the dollars.
Okay,
But
any,
the more often we want to update it, the more expensive the contract is.
Okay, thank you.
any further discussion? Mr. Schleter, you good? Okay, if not, we'll use our clickers for Madam Clerk here.
If the vote is open,
Vote is open.
there we go. It came in and it is all green, all aye votes.
Thank you. Motion carries. And Madam Clerk will add that to county board, ma'am, please.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to number 13, tribal law enforcement assistance grant application, discussion, possible action, and Mr. Buckholz, this has gone through public safety, correct?
We
And-
approved it.
You approved it in public safety and it's here, Mr. Alvarado.
We put it on the admin agenda because last year, the admin committee had approved this resolution and the grant application. Like, the chair has indicated, this went through public safety, part because there's a shift this year. This was a cooperative grant in the past that was administered by the county. But this year, we felt the sheriff's, okay, to be more of a pass-through project. So we still have to, under the terms of the grant program, still have to apply, the county does. We can receive the money, but then we can just disperse it to LCO for their purposes. They put together the application for a tribal animal control program to be funded by the grant. And so that's what's indicated in this resolution and in the application. And we would be a pass-through entity to receive the funds and pass them on.
And these funds are supported, Mr. Alvarado, through the gaming compact dollars at the state?
I believe so. yes.
Correct. In the amount, what, 49,000 something?
I thought it was less than that.
Okay. Mike, do you know what that amount is?
36 comes to mind, but.
Okay.
How come it keeps going down all the time? It used to be 100,000.
We're fighting that. You're right.
Cause I thought it used to be a 50-50 split and we got 50,000, I thought. But
That's the economic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Economic's still in place and the county gets 50,000.
Thank you.
Okay, yep. Is there any further discussion? Well, I don't have a motion yet, do I, Ron?
Right,
Entertain a motion then to move this on to the full county board for discussion, possible action. Motion by Mr. Duffy, second by Mr. Buckholz. To approve the tribal law enforcement agreement. Assistant grant application.
and the vote is open.
Vote is open.
And once again, all green, all I
Motion
votes.
carries. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, 14, policy, investment policy, discussion, possible action. Surrey County investment policy. Here it is, huh, Andy?
Yep, so it wasn't attached to this agenda, sorry about that. Yeah, this is what, Brian presents to the finance committee. This is for the purposes of, well, one, outlining some policy as to how the county's funds can be invested. A lot of that is based on statute. There's state statute that local governments are to follow to make sure that the taxpayers' dollars are handled appropriately. Obviously, they don't want them putting them into risky investments. So part of this outlines the duties, well, outlines the duties of the treasurer in regards to the investment policy, as well as in here, it's an investment committee. I know based on the conversation, the finance committee, we could leave the finance committee as the investment committee. This in here outlines a little bit different. Outlines it differently as far as having the treasurer and the finance director and the administrator, as well as the county board chair being part of an investment committee. I'm not sure how we want to handle that, because that is what's in this policy.
Right.
So we can make that as an advisory committee to the finance committee, leave the final decisions to the finance committee. But I mean, the main purpose was to make sure that our money is being managed transparently, securely, but also with an eye on the return on investment, so that we're getting the maximum return, because we do have literally millions of dollars invested, and current rate of return is 4%. That belongs to some real money that can fund the Terra Treasury's Department would be on the levy if they can invest the money effectively.
So I know, Andy, that the finance committee has approved this and moved this on to full county board next
Yeah.
week for approval. Can we also add that designating the finance committee as the investment committee?
Yeah,
I think it should. I think
Yeah.
we should identify that. Because I'm confident that the finance committee can do that. And I think the finance committee chair has agreed to add that to his agenda. So they discuss the investments during their meetings. Does that need an action from this committee then that we include that addendum?
yeah, I think you can put that in motion, and that way I'll work with Mr. Kinsley on updating the policy for the county board meeting.
Do you want any action right now that we do that?
Yeah, I don't think it would hurt to have the
I agree.
admin committee also sign off on that.
So entertain a motion then that we include with what finance committee wants to move it on to the full county board, that we add that the investment committee will be the finance committee that's in place already. Is that a motion? Mr. Duffy, second by Mr. Schleter. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll use our clickers. Open, Lynn?
Open, Passed 5-0.
Motion carries. Thank you. Anything else on that, Mr. Alvarado?
Nothing on that.
Okay. Okay, 14B. Resolution approving county signatory authority.
This is kind of a two-part approach. One is, I do not feel as if we have a real good or any policy in place regarding contract approvals or signing. I've noticed in my time that not a lot of contracts actually come through from departments from approval. So that was really where this started. What you have here is a form. I'm bringing this form with me from prior employment. And I adopted this form from a couple other counties there. Just so we had a process when we're looking at entering into contracts or grants, there's kind of a process to move through so that they're being reviewed. If we need to get council review them, we're able to get copies for audit purposes. And then if they need to be signed, that the right person we're going to for signature. So there's a contract grant approval form that I've already given this to the departments just to, for internal process. When they have a contract, to fill it out, so we know if it's a renewal, a new contract, if it's being funded by a grant, what accounts it's coming out of. And then on the back, it has, I route it to where it needs to go as far as having finance review it, the HR issue that we need to have reviewed or corp counsel, and then it's approved so that it can be signed. And then it raised the question of who's signing our contracts. I think we have some departments that are just signing off on their own contracts, really. It should be somebody else. They don't have the ability to bind us. And so talk to our council about that, and they produced this resolution for approving county signatory authority. So that the ones that need to be signed by the board chair and the clerk, that continues on, but other contracts that don't require them, that the administrator can sign off on. And that, good examples when they came in yesterday. We have a contract with Lumen for 911 that I think Mike got, that the sheriff got, and that's just entering in their contract for an already budgeted item. You know, who reviews it, who signs off on it. So that goes to address those types of issues.
So then by approving the resolution, which approves county signatory authority, does that take care of B2 then? Including the contract approval?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Part of it? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve that. I just kind of thought that stood in place, but
Yeah.
as administrator to do that, but if we need verification, that's. fine.
Second, Mr. Buckholz. Okay, motion by Mr. Kinsley, second by Mr. Buckholz. Approving the resolution, approving county signatory authority, which includes contract approvals as well. Is there any further discussion? If not,
Vote is open.
vote is open. Thank you, Lynn. And move on to full county board.
Move
Correct.
on to full county board.
Motion carries.
Andy, that number 2, that's what you hand out to the department heads.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good. All right. Thank you, Andy. Good work.
This would help. I mean, common scenario probably is that Tweed might get a phone call or some things and come in and sign this. Before he signs it, he should, has a way to verify now that it's actually.
Yeah.
been approved.
Good. And that I actually have approval to sign it.
Great.
Okay. Number 15. Consider implementation of paid time off benefits, discussion, possible action. I
Yeah.
read this in the minutes from last month,
Yep.
correct?
So I'm kind of going to cover this along with 15 or 16A, the county, just the county employee benefits in general. So I had proposed a switch from vacation sick leave to paid time off to a PTO benefit, which is becoming more and more popular in employment settings. I shared it with the committee as well as the department heads to get their feedback on the switch. I think we answered most questions, but what I'm going to tell you now is I want to pull it off the table for the time being and delay implementing it, in part because because our admin team have talked about doing a deeper look at all of our benefits. And I don't want to move ahead with the PTO if we might make changes in some of the other benefits. I think like Chair asked and Rose, I think people are okay with our benefits and accepting of them, but part of this that comes from just in the last few weeks, we've had opportunity to add 2 voluntary benefits to our offerings. These are voluntary in the sense that the employee would pay the full cost of them. One was medical transportation, so ambulance, air ambulance. There's a company that offers insurance for that, including paying your existing deductible costs for that. Seemed like a good offering, especially in a rural area where people a lot of times have to be transported out of the hospital to a different hospital. And then also we're gonna be offering pet insurance to the employees. That's again, a pretty popular trend in the benefits world where you can purchase a policy to take care of your pets. And both these policies are voluntary, but they're also policies that employees cannot go get on their own without them being offered by an employer. So I think in a lot of places, pets are homes, pets are parts of the family.
It's a big thing anymore.
But-
You're right.
But really, it
That you
ranges-
got in your yard.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
so
How
even
big a
like,
pet?
not so much the pet insurance, but we had the conversation about the medical transport. It's relatively affordable policy if that's a priority for you. Is this something we could just include as part of our health insurance and the county pay for it? Then the next question is, do the employees actually see value in it? So I think we want to take a step back. I want to take a step back and assess what do the employees value and get more feedback from them. Because we have life insurance, short-term disability, long-term disability. Other than we also had a presentation from a consultant that was referred to us about deferred compensation or things. Right now, we offer employees that a couple providers that come in and let them make do pre-tax deductions into a deferred comp program that they can invest and have additional retirement savings. And kind of say, here's the people that we have coming in, here you go. But could we do a better job of vetting that out, looking at returns and helping the employees on that? So we're gonna start. So we're gonna look at everything, top to bottom. First thing we're gonna do is put out a proposal for a benefits consultant. We have one currently, but we're gonna look at everything top to bottom. We're gonna make sure that we have the right people working with us to assess these benefits. These are the same people that help broker our health insurance. We've had conversations this last year. Our renewal was 2.5%, which most years you would pull out the confetti and be happy about that, but Mike's really knowledgeable on health insurance, and I know he's not sleeping at night because he thinks we should have been at 0%.
I'll let it go
So
eventually.
you're like,
Yeah.
that's what we like
Yeah,
about
that
Mike.
We think there's opportunity potentially to go self-insured with the track record we're building. So if we're gonna make that switch, that would be a fairly significant change in cost and administration of the benefits, so that's why I'm pulling, the long story for why I'm pulling back to PTO. Is we're gonna go top to bottom, soup to nuts, look at all of it, and then bring it back and see what changes we wanna make.
So you need a
Great.
motion to postpone it until the next month's
I
meeting?
think no action's fine, we're not even next, we'll be right
Okay,
next
all
month.
Okay.
Okay,
And when you put all this together, you're taking it to the department heads to get their feedback.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, and I should say, one of the key things that I know the current consultant, if we're gonna work with them or a new consultant, they're gonna do a engagement activity with the employees to get their feedback and then. I usually like to take things to the department heads first, because if I can't get their buy-in, I'm not gonna get the rest of the employees.
Andy, it is on here as a possible action item. I would allow a motion
That's
to
what I was
postpone
thinking.
indefinitely until county administrator is ready to bring it back. You okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
You good
I'll
with that,
make
Mr.?
that motion, yeah.
All right, motion by Mr. Buckholz. Second by Mr. Duffy to postpone the implementation of paid time off benefit until indefinitely until our county administrator comes back to us and says he's ready to do it all. Okay, is there any further discussion? Postpone? If not, Madam Clerk, are we ready?
Let me add that one since I was not anticipating that one,
Postpone.
but we will get it postponed. Ready.
Yep.
520 at passed.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you. And a good report too, Andy. All right, number 16, County Administrator's Report. Review of county employee benefits as well.
Covered that, that's what I was going to was gonna go through all our benefits, but we're just gonna go reassess all of them, so I don't have anything more on employee benefits. Just I sent out the email to the county board about doing interviews. I've got a few of them done. If you have any additional comments, I did take in a couple county board comments that I'm following up on with both departments. But like I said, this is the aren't evaluations, but it's treating them conversations like they are and talking about not, department performance, but as well as the department heads performance, more so start the conversation with how they would assess things and go from there. But I think this is long-term easing us into more of an evaluation process for department heads and all employees. I mentioned Wellness Day last month, so we got that on track for December 20th. Be a Wellness Day for all employees. Courthouse is going to be open, but really going to allow a lot of flexibility to let employees attend. We have some educational sessions lined up in the morning regarding people taking care of their mental and physical health. And then wellness fair in the afternoon where we have our health insurance company, our health insurance broker, some wellness facilities from the community coming in to let employees talk to them about different opportunities that they can take advantage of. I think what else? If you're interested in learning about yoga, we have a yoga provider coming in to do a yoga session. There'll be mini massages, just kind of a fun day, but also educational. Especially as you enter the new year, everybody kind of makes a New Year's resolution. This is just a chance to give some resources.
Yeah.
to
And
the
especially with
employees.
looking at going self-insured, I mean, these are good things to consider.
Yeah, it's.
I know other employees sometimes offer benefits if they go to a wellness center or a place like that.
Yep, so in the budget, I did put some small amount of money into for offering that benefit. Like, but we'll roll that into the benefits review and we're not gonna, I don't think we'll have to wait till the end of next year to do things, but once we get our benefits kind of looked over, we have something to work with there to offer that incentive.
And what is the date of that when they're coming in?
December 20th.
December 20th.
Yep.
County board be invited to that?
Sure.
Can you get your email?
I did. Thank you.
Public safety, you'll see something at the county board meeting regarding ambulance and medical examiner. So we kind of rethought things as far as emergency government ambulance based on the personnel we have and the implementation of the medical examiner. So I took a recommendation to public safety to appoint John Fremmel as the ambulance director and as the medical examiner. We're essentially going to merge into an emergency services department that covers ambulance and medical examiner, because our staff, the current coroners are already ambulance personnel. So we're going to amend those specific individuals, their job duties to do both jobs. And then the emergency government position is going to be put in the sheriff's department in a emergency government with emergency management and communications position that we're posting internal to fill that. The ambulance director will be a deputy emergency management, so still learn and know some of those duties, but we're separating them out and think this is the most effective way to deliver the services and also offer some redundancy, so there's backups in all those positions.
And our public health officer, Miss Lyons, will play a big role in that as well.
She already played the big.
She's
role.
already reached out to the tribe and other
Yep.
people that kind of coordinate. Good.
Yep, she's already works with our emergency management and that falls more under emergency preparedness. Is public health is a big part of that function. Update on, we have had a number of items that we've been working with that are cooperative or agreements between the county and LCO. So the public safety did approve the child support MOU. We're still waiting. It sounds like there might be some changes that LCO would like to make. So if there is, we've been going back and forth on it, and it appears they might have some additional changes. We'll bring that back to the committee if we need to. Same thing with the 161 agreement, which covers child placements between ICW and CPS. I think we're pretty close in that agreement as well. We're just waiting for final approval from LCO. ATV, UTV ordinance, it's going back. They're staying in the, Public Works Committee after last night's meeting. And, we're hoping, anticipating at next month's meeting to have LCO, governing board, attend as well to work out some additional issues regarding, routes across the reservation. And then, you just acted on the tribal law enforcement grant, and that, I think we've got that one pretty well put to bed, and it'll be submitted after the board meeting next week. Updates outside of the other things that we've already talked about.
So that thing they talked about in finance, the US Court of Appeals and that 1854 case.
Yeah.
We don't think that's gonna affect the county's revenue stream or tax.
Does not appear as if it will.
I'm glad we addressed that. All right, anything else for Andy at the county administrative report? Nope. Yeah, wow, that's impressive. All right, moving on to number 17 then.
Mr. Chair, do we need to go into closed session on that? I mean, it's already been acted on in finance and the majority of the finance committee is right here.
I think I'll just maybe announce that the finance committee, in open session after their closed session, made a motion to proceed with a 2% across the board increase on January 1 and 1% July 1. That'll go, we'll update the personnel worksheet, and that'll go to the county board next week.
Yeah, and if it don't need to go into
Yep.
closed session, I'll make a motion to approve that.
To approve the finance committee's recommendation
Yep.
to move it on to the full county board.
Yep.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Buckholz to approve that 2% in January and 1% in July. That was approved earlier by finance. Looking for a second? Mr. Duffy, second by Mr. Duffy. Okay, if there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk. We'll open the,
Your vote is open.
Okay.
And pass 5-0.
motion carries.
I think just for Mr. Buckles only, I guess the other thing to announce is we'll be doing tours of the new construction before the board meeting next week.
What time do they start?
It's either gonna be 5:30 or 5. We don't have that finalized yet.
Okay. Future agenda items. Madam Clerk, we're gonna make sure we address the mailbox for veteran service, correct? Anything else? The committee can always come to Andy or I or Madam Clerk if there's additions to the agenda you're requesting. I like how you put it, Mr. Kinsley. That we're open to all those. Anyone else have any future agenda items for admin? Mr. Schleter? No, good. All right,
Signatures needed before you take
with
off.
that, we're adjourned. Thank you
And
all.
there's